This is E-Commerce Uncensored. Brought to you by Fast Forward. We're coming to you fully loaded and exposed with all the strategies and techniques for growing your e-commerce business.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. This is episode 163. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
And we're at episode number 2 in our remote, isolated, quarantined locations.
Right, but we're episode number 163 today, or 4?
I said 163. And it's funny you say that because I got called out for saying the wrong episode on the last
No,
one.
you said we're on episode 2.
I said 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I said I meant episode 2 of being quarantined in our remote
Right. Well, that's what you said, but I don't think you mentioned 163. But anyway.
So this is total episode 163.
Right.
Episode number 2 that we're doing this remotely on Skype. So audio might be a little different than usual.
Yeah, there's going to be a little rustling around because I'm holding my mic. I totally forgot to bring the stand.
Yeah, you kind of look like a news anchor.
A news anchor, like I'm doing sports. Like,
Yeah.
So obviously we are in quarantine. Well, I'm in quarantine, actually. I wasn't feeling well. I don't really know what's wrong with me. I just kind of feel a little under the weather. And
Shouldn't ask me that. I know. I could come up with a list for you if you want.
Yeah. What we're going to do, guys, today is talk about something that I think a lot of people struggle with. I mean, our clients do, so I'm assuming you guys do.
I struggle with it. I go nuts with it.
Yeah, I don't go nuts as much. For me,
No, you don't.
I know because like I want to know what I'm, basically spending and what are we getting back. And that's basically how do you attribute which channels that you're marketing on? Like how do you attribute which ones are working and which ones aren't? For example, if you're doing email, right? When you send out some emails, Facebook, if you're running Facebook ads, they may take some credit for some of your emails and vice versa. And, we are in a interesting kind of position with our own business right now because we are only doing Facebook ads. We are doing email, but I'll explain why I said we're only doing Facebook ads coming up. But before we do, we have to talk about our favorite growth
marketing platform, which is Klaviyo. And Klaviyo's been doing something really cool. Jake Cohen is going on every morning and he's sharing some really interesting information about everything that's going on e-commerce with this COVID thing. They have a survey on their website, so if you go to klaviyo.com/uncensored, and I think a couple minutes they have one of their pop-ups come up and it asks you to take a survey, and then Jake goes live on Facebook every morning and he tells everybody what they found out about how everybody's responding, which is really, really cool info to hear.
I mean, our business, to give you guys an idea, when COVID first hit, we took a big hit. And we really, to be honest with you, we really didn't know what to do with our ads for a couple weeks. And we just kept sending emails. And if it wasn't for email, I think those first 2 weeks would have been really tough for us. But we sent out a ton of, almost an email every single day, and we made up some of the ground that we lost from our ads kind of poo-pooing.
Yeah, we kind of learned a lot because we realized we don't realize because we know, but we saw how our email list responded to every time we sent an email. So email is the place to be, and Klaviyo is the place to sign up to use email.
Yeah, so go to klaviyo.com/uncensored, and Kevin, you're going to spell Klaviyo.
KLAVIYO.com/uncensored. They got SMS too, Jason. I was in there messing around with one of our clients, SMS. They got a whole new layout and totally rolling out the SMS feature, so that's really cool.
Exactly.
Then we want to talk about Rakuten.
Rakuten Super Logistics.
They're the complete 3PL solution for all you guys.
Yeah, and if you're wondering how Amazon gets your stuff to you so quickly, it's because they have multiple warehouses, and Rakuten Super Logistics can do that exact same thing for you. They have 15 locations worldwide, and they can determine like who's going to buy your products, and you can ship your product to that location so that your customers can get their stuff faster.
And I imagine a lot of you guys are seeing some vulnerability in your fulfillment centers, I'm sure, at this point in time.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're going through some of that stuff, you might want to reach out to Rakuten.
And they got a new deal.
They have this awesome deal. And if you go to ecommerceuncensored.com/RSL, you'll see that you'll give them all your shipping, everything that you're doing right now with your fulfillment center, your other existing 3PL that you may have, and they guarantee that they'll beat your pricing or they'll just write you a check for $500.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So you gotta go check those guys out.
It's like there's no risk. So head over to that website and check that out. And you got to use promo code uncensored as well when you sign up on that website. All right, cool. So let's proceed, because this is, this whole attribution thing is something that
it's driving you crazy.
Struggle with, because I don't know, maybe I'm more of the numbers guy than you are, Jason, and I'm always trying to figure out a way to track back. And this probably has something to do with some of my client relationships that force me to do that, because sometimes they're, saying to me, can we prove that it came from here? Or how do we see that it definitely came from that source? So it causes me to go into this mindset of, I got to put some tracking code on that URL, or I got to put, this, or look at Google Analytics and see what it shows there. So it really drives me nuts sometimes. And I think it's a problem for a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I dig into the numbers like you do, but I don't. To me, I look at what we spend and what we bring in, right? And if those numbers, if we're making more than we're spending, then that's okay for me, because the truth is, we're not going to turn things off or change things if that's how it is, right? Where a larger company will disagree with me is they'll say, well, how do I know where to put my marketing dollars? And the truth is, whether you're big or whether you're small, I mean, we're running a multi-million-dollar business of our own here, and it's the same thing. It doesn't matter, really. You got to keep the engine going. And for me personally, right now, it's too difficult to know where things are coming from. You and I had this conversation, Kev, about one of our clients where you were saying that their Google ads were showing a 7x return or whatever, 7.5x return. But once we turned the Facebook ads off, it dropped down to a 3x return. Well, who gets credit for those sales if when you turn Facebook the ads off, the ROAS goes down, right? Is Google making that sale? Is Facebook making that sale? So for me, I look at it as one engine all working together, or a piece of a pie, right? If you take one piece out, it's no longer a full pie, right? That one piece is not making you a full pie, but without it, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, the story that you're telling really kind of was clear to me, and it's kind of part of the reason why we wanted to talk about this, is because we had one of our clients that was affected by this COVID stuff, and we had to scale back on the sales. They were actually they were selling too many products that their production couldn't stay up. So we had to kind of scale back on their Facebook ads. But I said to them, I was like, well, it looks like your Google ads are performing well enough to cover the units that you have to sell per day.
Or to hit the mark, hit the goal.
To hit the goal for the amount of products they can sell per day. And also their organic traffic, I figured, would just pick up the slack when we turn the Facebook ads off. But when we turn the Facebook ads off, then the Google ad return dropped as well. So you can obviously see that there's traffic coming in from Facebook. Then they've either left and they've come back through Google. They've searched for the product. They have that brand recognition from Facebook, and they come back by searching through Google. So you're right. It's this one big, it's like
engine.
A sales funnel.
Yeah,
it's like a sales funnel that all the pieces have to be moving. And it was really pretty apparent to us these last 2 days for this client, where it's just, we were actually able just to turn the faucet off, and the sales turned off as well.
Yeah, and we're dealing that with our business right now, right? We're doing primarily Facebook ads. We're only doing Facebook ads, right? We have some Pinterest stuff going, but we're just testing on that. But mostly everything is coming from Facebook. Now, that doesn't mean we're not doing email. Like I said, we were sending out one email a day. But if you look at the analytics in Klaviyo, they'll tell you that their email made $40,000 this month. But I know, and you know, that Facebook really drove all of that, right? Because the only thing we're doing is Facebook. We don't really get any organic traffic at this point because we're new. So does Facebook get credit or does email get credit? And for me, this is why I say to you, Kev, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it all works together. And I would say is like, you need to go bullish on email and go bullish on your marketing, whatever that is. I mean, I look at Facebook and it's only showing me like a 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 return on our ad spend. But I know that every single dollar we make is coming from Facebook. So it's really more of a 2x plus return.
Yeah, everybody's coming in through Facebook at some point. And there are some, there are metrics, there are little signals that you have to look at in individual pieces of Facebook. And we're going to cover that in our Facebook course. Jason's going to cover that in our Facebook course at ecommerceuncensored.com/truth.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about some of those really important things that you should be focusing on. We're talking about like in this course, we're going to talk about the individual impact of Facebook. But what we're talking about here is like all these pieces come together and they form like this whole machine.
Right. So for me, if I can make my money back and a little bit more on Facebook, I know that, my email is going to kind of like pick up the slack. And that 1 point whatever on Facebook is really going to turn into 2x. And 2x, you see all these people on Facebook and they're like, I'm getting a 40x return on my ads. Like, okay, first of all, I don't care what anybody says. They're not getting that. It's not possible. Yes, if you have organic traffic and you're retargeting your organic traffic, take a look at a swift of wine there, buddy.
Yeah, that's why it's nice to work. Do this at home. I can drink wine. I guess I could do it at the office.
You could do it at the office too.
Well, we're doing a late night call now, so
yeah, exactly. So I lost my train of thought. What the hell's that?
No, you were talking about like if you and we have a client that's doing that exact same thing. They're actually working with another agency, and they would give us reports because we were consulting with them, and they would show us these huge numbers. So
right.
You're right. 40x return.
Yeah, you're not getting that. If you have organic traffic and you retarget them with something, yes, maybe you will, but not on paid advertising. I don't care what anybody says. So the point is let's say you're doing what we're doing. We're spending $2,500 a day, and actually it's up to like $2,700 now, right? A day on Facebook, right? If I just get a 1.3x return on that, I'm instantly making 5,000 plus or 6,000, right?
Yeah.
So when you start to get to those numbers, that return isn't that important. As long as you're getting your money back and just a little bit more, because if I spend $5,000, that means I'm getting back 10 and a little bit more. So if I made 5,000 or 6,000, if I cleared that a day, right? You could do the math. It's a lot of money. So
yeah, and you got those that whole concept of the attribution windows through Facebook ads, where like if you have your ads set up to that 1 day click, which again that's something else we'll talk about in the course. Facebook's not going to take a credit for that order that comes in maybe 2 days after you've acquired an email address from that Facebook ad, or 3 days after, and that's a big part of what we're doing. We're collecting email addresses for a download, and we're putting them through like a 10-day email sequence. So there's no way Facebook's going to recognize that order 10 days after it happens and attribute it to the original ad. It's just not going to happen.
Right. So
those are, and then you have Klaviyo, who's like I think got a 4-day window. And
you can set that to whatever you want, but it's the.
Oh, you can? You could change that?
Yeah, you could change that.
I didn't know you could change that. And then you got Google, who's going to take last click attribution. So there you're going to see a totally different set of numbers there on your campaigns. So it really is you got a lot, not, and I'm kind of like, it's kind of like the cat. What is it? The cat calling the kettle black or whatever.
The pot calling the kettle black. The pot calling the
whatever
kettle
you
black.
said.
Right.
Because I'm the one that drives myself nuts over it, but I'm trying to get better at it. Don't drive yourself nuts over every single individual piece. Again, there will be signals that shows your parts of your marketing are or are not working, but look at it as a whole.
Right, and you can when you're spending $3,000 a day, a little tweak can mean a lot, right? If I got my ads from 1.3x return, and I can get that up to a 1.5 1.6x return, that's a big number, right? So you can constantly tweak and you can constantly make things better, but I personally wouldn't go crazy with trying to determine exactly where every single little thing came from. Now, that being said, we're testing out Pinterest ads, right? And if they're not making any sales, then we're just throwing money out the window, right? So there is a balance. I mean, if you're getting sales from email and you're getting sales from your Facebook ads, and at the end of the day, that's all adding up to a return, cool. And then you introduce Pinterest like we are. If we're not getting more conversions, then we have to figure something out. Like, okay, either our Pinterest ads aren't working as well, we're not doing something right on Pinterest, we have to change some things around, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, it's about being profitable. And I know you talk to these big companies out there, like, all right, what are our KPIs? Like, all right, we need a KPI for this, we need a KPI for that, we need a KPI for our open rates. I don't know. I mean, yes, the only KPI I care about is like, am I getting back my money and a little bit more? I mean, outside of that, now, if you have a big company and you have to be paying people, maybe that return number is different. So maybe that KPI goes from 1.3 to 2. Like one of our clients needs an 8x return to be profitable, right? Mm-hmm. Once you have that KPI, what other KPI do you need?
Yeah, and those bigger companies who are spending hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a month on advertising as a whole, it's even harder for them to track down. The Coca-Cola is spending however much money on a Super Bowl commercial, or Pepsi or whatever. They're never going to be able to track exactly what that brought in. So It's the same situation here.
It's the same
but
situation.
They know when they go to the store, maybe a sign in a gas station window drove that person to go buy a Coke. But the original time they saw it was on the Super Bowl commercial.
And it's hard to quantify that. And, the other thing is that for me personally, and I would say this if I had like a small business, now that we're running our own multi-million-dollar business, or it's getting close to multi-million dollars. I mean, this year, if we take this year, it will be. Now that we're running our own, like, I feel the same way. Like, people complicate this stuff too much, and they make things more. They think there's more to it than there really is. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little simpler than we make it. And I don't know, Kev, about you, but now that we have a business that's making multi-million dollars, I mean, do you feel like we do anything differently? No. I mean, we do the same thing. It's the same thing. We
test. If it fails, we do something different. If it's successful, we kind of try to make it better. Sometimes when we try to make it better, we make it worse. We've done that before. Like this whole attribution window thing with the email capture. We even tried to do the 7-day window. Remember we did that like last week? And I don't think it made things worse, but it didn't help anything.
It didn't help anything.
So, it happens. You try things, they make them better. You try things, they make them worse. And, it's
right.
the way it goes.
I would not get caught up on, worrying about every single little thing and what platform it's coming from. I would definitely, advise you to do one platform plus email, right? And then move out from there so that you know what your numbers are. But I think once you start going and that wheel is going, I don't think you have to be as concerned about it. Like you said, for our clients, they want to know every little thing. So we kind of, I don't want to say yes then the death, but sometimes we have to come up with what the actual numbers are, even though we don't quite believe in being that granular about it.
Yeah, that's a good point about the platform, the channel thing, like doing one at a time, because like we always say, it's about the offer. And if you can get somebody to buy an offer on one platform, then it's just a matter of, scaling out onto the other channels, YouTube. Right. We're doing that now. We're going to go over to Google. Like Jason said, we went to Pinterest, kind of learning curve for us a little bit. We're working that out. Hopefully we'll be able to share some of that stuff with you guys soon. But Google is going to be next, so we're just scaling out, and because we know people will buy this offer. We just got to get it in front of the right people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem that I see with Pinterest is it's just not as advanced as Facebook, and I think it's we're having a problem getting the conversions to track properly.
Yeah. I'm having trouble actually knowing, if I'm getting impressions. Like just reading the data is a little tricky.
Yeah, it's not as robust as Facebook, but
well, for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah. All right, man, that's it. I mean, the moral of the story is, I don't get so caught up on which platforms are doing what. Yes, you can scale out, and yes, there has to be a number where it makes sense. But when you're in our position where you're making, you're doing, between $5,000 and $8,000 a day in sales, to like worry about where, who's taking credit for what, because we have a client who does that. Like, they're a multi-million-dollar business, and like we'll be like, hey, Klaviyo did this, and she'd be like, well, no, not really, because Facebook also took credit for it. And we're like, really? I mean,
that's what makes me crazy.
Right, because email had a part of it. Yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't the driver of every single dollar, but people have placed orders after they used or seen the email.
Yep.
Okay, it doesn't matter where it originated from. It just matters that you're generating that revenue from email. Anyway.
Yeah. And again, we talked about this Facebook course. We're producing it right now. Jason's recording a lot of pieces of it. You got to go over to ecommerceuncensored.com/truth and sign up, and you'll get 50% off when we launch this thing.
And you won't get that unless you're on the list.
Yeah, so go over there and sign up right away. All right. And also, we're going to talk a lot about Klaviyo, as usual. And you got to go over to klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored and sign up for this awesome email, SMS growth marketing platform. And check out Jake Cohen's live talks on Facebook every morning during this COVID stuff. He's given out a lot of great information. Yeah, he's awesome. I'm glad I remembered his name this time, but I've been watching him in the morning, so that's why I remember. Yeah. And then check out Rakuten. If you guys are, noticing, like I said earlier, some vulnerabilities in your 3PL company, Rakuten is definitely the place out. They're a great team too. I mean, they really work closely with all their clients. So go over to ecommerceuncensored.com/RSL. They have a special promo. If you use code uncensored, you give them all your fulfillment expenses, everything you're spending on your 3PL now, and they guarantee that they'll beat your prices or they'll just cut you a check for $500.
Right.
So you got to go check that out.
Exactly.
Is that it, Jason?
That's it. I'm
all
good.
Right, thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been episode 163. And as always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com. We'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.